my son came home the other day. Cade, my oldest boy. And he says, for the first time ever, he comes home. He says, "Dad, are you a Buddhist?" And I said, "Buddhist?" I said, "What made you think of that?" He said, "Well, because you have all those like Buddha figures in the house and stuff like that." And I said, "Yeah, but what made you've seen this all your life. Like, what makes you think of it in this way now?" And he said, "Well, we were talking about it in school." I was like, "That's where it comes from." So I said, what did they say about Buddhism? And then he was like, "No, they were talking about just all kind of different religions out there." And I said, "Well, Buddhists are not religious. It's not a religion." I said, "But I'm not a Buddhist. I haven't gotten to that level where I would deem myself as a Buddhist at this point." I said, "I'm more spiritually independent." I said, "In fact, we need to have some pictures of Jesus in here too. Like, let's get some pictures of Jesus, because to me, spirituality is a sport, and Jesus is the Michael Jordan. And then you got Buddha, who's, to some, Buddha was the Michael Jordan." And I said, but what happens is a lot of times, just like people who idolize certain players in the game, they go to bickering and arguing back and forth about who was the best, who did it right, who did it first.
Better.
Yeah, Kobe. And they really argue about it. Go to any barbershop. Go to any church. Church is the barbershop for spirituality. And but there's usually only one conversation going on. We're right, they're wrong. Everybody outside of this is wrong. And so I said, for me, I'm more of a investigator. Let me see what this was about. Let me see what that was about. And then from the buffet, I take what I like and I leave the rest. Now, because if I go to a buffet and I go with a group of meat eaters and we get back to the table, everybody's looking around. "What'd you get? Yeah, what'd you get? What'd you get?" And they looking at me. They're like, "Man, you don't got no meat on there." And I'm like,
"You're talking about me, because I'll get a full plate of meat. I get all chicken, all and I know exactly what you're talking about." But this is a good point.
Well, it's a good point. What if you went out with a whole group of vegetarians,
right?
And everybody come back with Brussels sprouts and flowers, and they look over there like, "Oh my God, he's eating meat." So for me, I can be a vegetarian without getting disgusted at you eating meat. Well, that's how spirituality is for me. I can sit at the table with anybody from any religion until they start telling me that what's on my plate is not good for me.
And wrong.
Absolutely. Case in point,
let's talk about the buffet.
The buffet we had. I was telling Ricky, I said, so we went, context, we went to lunch one day. We saw a gentleman in line, as giving and as caring as you always are when you found a random guy and was like, "You know what, I'd like to pay for your lunch. Would you like to sit with us?" Guy says yes. He was very taken back by the fact that you paid for his dinner. And it all was well. Everybody was getting to know each other. But for that guy, it wasn't good enough that we were cool people having a good conversation. "Hey, man, what religion are you?" And pretty much, "What do you think about God?" We couldn't enjoy each other as human people, as human beings, without him trying to figure out where do we stand spiritually. My character should override what I tell you I believe in. What my behavior should override that. Well, anyway, it got to a point to where this guy was clearly bothered by, I'll say your version of your perception on God and spirituality and religion. Ricky and I's lack of, he couldn't just sit there and enjoy the meal. That had to be the topic of the discussion. He had to tell us that what we had on our plate was wrong. That's wrong. And I woke up this morning, and stop me at any time, just butt in, because I I woke up this morning. This was a month ago now when that happened. But I woke up this morning and I started thinking about God. And then I started thinking about the Bible. And then I just started thinking about beliefs in general. And I said, my goodness, isn't it crazy, wild, how one person could pick up a book and read something that just makes them a better overall person. Another person could pick up that same book and it makes them the most judgmental, sinister person you ever met. I say, so what is it? And it goes back to the fact of the matter is, words are powerful. Even if you think about words in the sense that we spell them, it's almost as if words are magical in nature. It casts a spell onto the fabric of reality and withdraws from us all kind of things, whether it's good traits or bad traits, things that make us enjoyable by most people, things that make us unenjoyable by most people. And so I even heard a person the other day that said, I'm not comfortable with somebody just saying they believe in God. Do you believe in Jesus?
Right.
And I'm thinking, so God isn't good enough anymore. Should be the topic of this conversation. And I'm like, now people want you to believe exactly as they believe. It's not open for discussion. I heard a guy on Facebook the other day, someone that I know that said, hey, I hear people talking about negative energy and positive energy and all that stuff. Is that biblical? And I'm thinking, like, the way you frame the question already demonized the thought of negativity and positivity. You're so caught up in the language that you can't even see that we're talking about the same thing. And I just think that people allow spiritual language to create a division among themselves and other people. And so for that reason, I'm spiritually independent. I'm not against anything, but I am for certain things. And one thing I'm definitely for is having the ability to think what I want to think about myself and the world around me. It's hard for me to swallow the red or blue pill related to any subject. I'll take a little bit of that red pill, but I'll lick the top of that blue pill too. So you could say that I'm a spiritual atheist because there are some things I subscribe to and certain things I don't, even if it's coming out of the same material. I can agree to disagree with the people who wrote about the Bible. What if Paul or whoever said something in the Bible that I didn't agree with? Oh, Paul, I think you had it wrong with that. I like that you wrote about it, Peter, but I don't see it like that. That's where your denominations come from. People looking at something that somebody said, and then they perceive that information differently.
Right, and they perceive it around themselves or what they think themselves should be like. So, case in point, I'll tell you, nobody listens to the Bible. Not one person listening today or who's in church, or I can prove that every Christian does not follow the Bible. Why? Because Jesus, who most people say, follow the words in red. Jesus himself said, if you do a sin, pluck out your eye.
Oh my God.
Cut your hand off.
Ricky?
But how many people do we see with one eye or no eyes or cut their hand off? So if you're going to guarantee that you're have the full truth of the Word of God, when are you going to pluck out your eye? When are you going to cut off your hand? When are you going to...
Well, that's what people they say, no, he meant your spiritual eye.
Yeah. Now they're all, I could change the context of what Jesus said because they will not do that. Now, Jesus did mean it when he said it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say is the falseness of Christianity has diminished the value of Jesus. You know, it's